안녕하세요. Welcome to the documentary The Culture Frontline from the BBC World Service, the program that explores the world through the work and the voices of artists. In this episode, we ask, what's the future for South Korean drama? I'm Minha Kim. I'm a South Korean actress and currently I'm starring in Pachinko, a drama based on the best-selling novel. It's one of many stories about my country that is gaining global popularity. TV dramas that Korean studios are producing, known as K-drama, are now one of the country's biggest exports. The effect is nothing short of a worldwide phenomenon.
And the rise of K-drama. Why is a hyper-violent Korean TV thriller expected to knock Bridgerton off the top spot?
Tonight we are talking about K-dramas, the whole phenomenon of people watching Korean dramas.
A K-drama, a Korean series called Squid Game.
The show was its most popular, having been viewed by more than 140 million people.
So, let's hear from some of those international fans.
Hello, my name is Dima Abu Nasser. I run Dima Loves Drama, a Korean drama fan community where I recommend dramas and do a lot of reviews.
K-dramas I've finished recently, and if they're worth the watch, and K-dramas I'm going to start soon and need your reviews.
In the Middle East, we really truly love two things, which are romance and drama, and I think that's reflected really well in K-dramas.
Jeannie Chang, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist in the US.
Yes, indeed. K-dramas can benefit your mental health. Mental health is defined as emotional well-being, social well-being, and psychological well-being.
It really took off in 2020 when folks were in global lockdown and started watching K-dramas.
I think K-dramas have the loveliest community in the world. So we have people from the US, people from Canada, Malaysia, the UAE, Australia. Like truly we cover all continents, maybe except Antarctica, but you never know. Maybe there's somebody watching a K-drama with a penguin.
K-dramas are my self-care. I know I enjoy them and they help me. They gotta help other people.
A combination of video on-demand streaming and the pandemic got more people watching K-dramas.
K-drama viewership rose 200% during the pandemic. I'm Joan McDonald. I am a K-drama and Korean film critic for Forbes, and I'm also a K-drama fan. Squid Game is definitely Netflix's most popular show of all time, and it's a Korean drama. So that did make a lot of people look up and pay attention to Korean dramas. But they were already growing in popularity before that. Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos visited Korea earlier this year, and he noted that 60% of Netflix subscribers had seen a Korean drama in 2022, which no doubt is the reason that they're planning to invest another $2.5 billion in producing Korean dramas. When the writers and actors strike happened, they had all these Korean programs lined up and managed to survive the writers and the actors strike quite well. Of course, Netflix is not the only international streaming platform producing Korean dramas. Amazon Prime Video has also produced quite a few. Disney is producing quite a few, and Paramount.
But while streaming giants pouring money into the industry, and it's an exciting time to be working as an actress in Korea, I wonder what will happen in the future. Will K-drama's new international audience change it for better or worse?
The fact that they're on streaming platforms and seen around the world is already changing the content. I started watching them 14 years ago, and there was a lot less violence. There was a lot less sex. You had to wait till episode 10 to get a kiss. And that's certainly not the case anymore. So it's hard to tell whether the streaming platforms are making dramas that they particularly want to make attractive to international audiences, or it's just that producers and directors have more freedom on streaming platforms. Squid Game, for example, would not have been made unless Netflix had invested money in it because it was deemed too violent and strange for terrestrial television in Korea. So it's already changing. I hope it doesn't change too much because we like it for what it is.
In this program, I'll be speaking to screenwriters, actors, and producers to find out how K-drama is changing as a result of this rise in global popularity. and whether shifts in Korean society are being reflected in the news stories. Coming up, the actress and singer Jung-hwa on how women's roles in K-drama have changed.
When I started off my career back in the 90s, the spotlight rarely shone on women.
How webtoons, comics made for your smartphone, are driving the Korean drama renaissance. And those all-important kisses.
Korean actors are very beautiful.
They're perfect.
Yeah, obviously that's the first thing. And besides it, they are really good at acting. The director is very good at directing, especially the kissing scene, the music, lighting, and camera work. In fact, the script simply says, 2 people kiss. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Hong Eun-mi is a scriptwriter who works both in film and television.
Korean drama has a unique atmosphere. The characters, they are very warm.
Even in like zombie stories.
Yeah. So K-drama talk about family love, motherhood, and parental love, friendship, and trust. And also, the Korean drama, Korean contents talk directly about the social issues. For example, the movie 1987. The movie is about the Korean pro-democracy movement. I heard that it was very popular in Hong Kong at the moment. Yeah, Asian viewers in particular seems to like how Korean drama and movies talk about the political stories very honestly and freely.
So how is Korean cinema different from K-drama?
In the past, there are some differences, but now the COVID changed a lot. The film industry has slumped. Many filmmakers started making dramas to live. Drama such as Squid Game are actually made by filmmakers. For the filmmakers, it's a very sad story, but it's good for Korean content, I think.
Why is it such a sad story?
For me, I'm okay. I can move on to drama, but before COVID, more than 100 movies made per year. But this year, only 6 movies. That's the big problem, I think.
How has the advent of streaming platforms such as Netflix, Disney+, Apple TV impacted the way dramas are made?
The first thing is I don't have to worry about the money when I write. The reason why the movie screenwriters couldn't write dramas is because the drama are usually made into 24 episodes of 70 minutes. And now drama is being made into 8 episodes. So movie screenwriters started writing dramas.
Traditionally, K-dramas have a big female fan base.
It is good at making romance dramas, but there's been a lot of changes. In the 1990s, the Korean drama were about rich man, loving poor woman. But that's not the case now. The female protagonist is very independent, has a professional job, and it's not really bothered by marriage. This phenomenon is common to women all over the world. That's why it is attracted in a Korean woman's story.
I think we cannot talk about K-contents without mukbang. Right? Mukbang is it's very specialized in Korean dramas. It is people eating things. We call it mukbang. So why do you think it's so popular?
Eating is very special for Koreans. So we love Korean food. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, I think the sound. The sound of chewing and, munching. The sound is really attractive for global audience, I think.
I think for Koreans, they put a very, very important meanings in it.
I think mother.
Yeah, the motherhood.
The mother always asks, is it good? Is it delicious?
In Pachinko, we portrayed a lot about food as well because, so like for example, when I played as Sonja and my mother's name was Yangjin, and when Yangjin gave Sonja the white
rice.
Yeah, that's important.
That's very important.
It's a love.
It's a love.
Many successful K-dramas like Itaewon Class, Business Proposal, and What's Wrong with the Secretary Kim started out as webtoons, digital comics that you can read on your smartphone vertically. Some attract millions of readers, so it's not surprising that the entertainment industry decided to turn them into TV dramas. One of the main webtoon app publisher is Kakao, and Minyoung Alicia Hong is an executive at Kakao Entertainment.
During the pandemic, Kakao's webtoon service in Japan grew into the world's top 20 highest-grossing mobile apps. So webtoon became mainstream pop culture and triggered a renaissance in Korea's storytelling industry.
Yeah, I remember when I was in high school, I was obsessed with a webtoon. While I was in school, I was always reading the webtoon with my phone. I mean, a lot of cinema and dramas are based on
webtoon
yes. Right now. How did you know that this could work?
It was actually in 2014 to 2016, when I was working with Chinese big tech, I actually realized the real potential that could actually bring in super fans. So I was so inspired, and that was why I actually moved to Kakao Page in 2016, which was still a local web literature platform. And it was actually preparing a commercial with big stars using What's Wrong with Secretary Kim. So I actually proposed to develop a drama instead. The drama was released in 2018 on TVN, and webtoon fans were very happy about the adaptation and became the biggest ambassador for the drama. And soon Itaewon Class followed and became an even bigger hit, attracting 15 million webtoon readers, which was almost as big as the attendance number of the biggest movie hit. So that's how webtoon became a primary source for K-drama.
I went to Itaewon yesterday. There was a small restaurant where Itaewon Class has been shooted, and everyone was there shooting photos in front of the restaurant. I was like, oh my god, that is so cool. Did you expect Itaewon Class or the other webtoon-based dramas could be this level of success?
Well, what was very, very surprising, the reaction from the US. Typically, even if Korean drama was popular, it didn't actually really hit the US market before the Squid Game. But Itaewon Class was getting rave reactions from the US market and also from Japan, that it actually became the first K-drama for a lot of Japanese men who used to actually discount K-drama that's actually for the the female, right? So we were very pleasantly surprised by the success of the Itaewon Class.
Why do you think Korean culture has a global appeal, especially in non-Western countries?
I think it's everywhere.
Right.
If you actually look at the GDP per capita of Korea, I was born in 1977, and it was only $1,000. Nowadays, Korea's GDP per capita is about $35,000. So while the Korea was actually growing rapidly, Korea had a lot of stories and characters that could actually relate to any corner of the world. A lot of underdog stories that are relatable from the Asian countries. However, as our economy is maturing, a lot of the characters are worrying about things and issues that the Western countries, European countries and America can actually relate to as well.
How is the growing global audience influencing K-dramas in general?
Nowadays, a lot of producers are actively, think about how to create a story with the universal appeal, because the global streamings are such important part of funding and distributing, K-dramas.
But do you think that also changed how the dramas and cinemas portray the stories?
You may have noticed that, Korean dramas used to have, much aggressive male characters when it comes to the romantic scenes. It was something that we all actually identified as risk. So we kind of dealt with it, even before it was actually turned out to be problematic. because Korean dramas suddenly became so popular everywhere on par with, American dramas. I think, we reached a time that we need to be very careful not to really offend any audience, globally.
Do you see K-dramas influence anywhere else, like, for example, fashion?
Definitely. Fashion, beauty, food, tech, anything, lifestyle. Korean drama have been a major influence. What I think is next is actually travel to Korea. Because, if you look at the number of superfans, K-Wave, it's estimated to be over 200 million people. However, I think the biggest annual visitors that Korea has so far is around, 10 million. So there is such a big gap. But I'm actually already sensing that, Seoul is becoming a trendsetter. If you shoot it in Korea, that everything can be product placement.
Not only in Seoul, like not only in Seoul,
but
all
everywhere in Korea.
Everywhere in Korea.
Yes.
Like, that's gonna be wonderful. Yeah.
Well, Alicia is right. Fans are traveling to Korea to visit K-drama locations. Here's Ginny Chang, who posts as Nuna's Nunchi, and Dima Abu Nasir, who runs the fan community Dima Loves Drama.
I kind of made a pact with myself earlier this year that no matter what, I would visit South Korea. And then I received a fellowship from Nuna's Nunchi to kind of tour around South Korea and K-drama locations.
And I'm not just showing K-drama sites, people are also eager to see the country that they came to know through the K-drama. So that's very important.
You guys, I'm at the 2521 shooting place. Oh my God.
Everywhere in Korea, honestly, that I walk around, I kind of recognize some locations here and there. For me, touring it solo was so important to kind of just have the time with like myself and my community to kind of go around and see all the locations and try all the things that we've been seeing in our TV shows this whole time.
Hey guys, I'm currently in the hometown of Cha Cha Cha, which is Pohang, and the weather is really not being cute right now. It's raining 24/7, which is nice, but except it's like monsoon rain.
Sometimes when I'm at different locations, like I see other people there that are also K-drama and K-pop fans. That has been so special.
It still boggles me when I'm like, am I talking about Korean culture to non-Koreans? They're like, I'm going to make kimchi because this is what's going on in K-drama, and I'm just boggles me.
I'm Minha Kim, and you are listening to the documentary The Culture Frontline from the BBC World Service on the rise and change of K-drama. One way that K-drama is influencing global drama production is through remakes for local audiences. I spoke to Melis Veziroglu Ilmaz, a screenwriter in Istanbul who adapts Korean dramas for Turkish TV. I was curious about how she came to know about Korea.
In 2002, during the World Cup, I visited Korea for a week. It left a significant impact on me. Everyone, especially the elderly, treated me very well upon learning that I was Turkish. I believe they were remembering their friendship during Korean War. One day I met an elderly man in the airport. When he found out I was Turkish, he started singing Turkish songs to me. When I come back to Turkey, I started to watch your dramas, and I really liked it. By chance, I had chance to make adaptation of Korean drama which called Doctors. Doctors is a medical drama. The series were extremely loved also in Turkey.
What elements of K-drama lead you to adapt the dramas into your countries?
First of all, producers prefer adapting Korean format because it provides them with a clear example of how the story will unfold for at least one season. Additionally, if a series is loved in Korea, there is a good chance that it may be loved in Turkey as well, because the two societies have a lot in common. Both societies have very conservative values, respect for elder people, for example. In both countries, it's common to stand up and greet when an elder enters in a room, or not starting a meal until they do. Unfortunately, also both cultures tend to have a patriarchal structures.
Were there any other difficulties that you had to overcome while you were adapting the Korean K-dramas to Turkish?
Your series is around 60 minutes. Our series is around 140 minutes. Instead of adapting just one Korean series, we watch several Korean dramas like Dr. Cha, plus Love, Marriage and Divorce and other drama, and then collect and adapt relevant storylines from them into a single Turkish format with a new name.
And what do you think Korean drama's influence has been in Turkey?
Actually, teenagers like very much K-pop, and they really interested with Korean language too. My daughter also practicing Korea with Duolingo. Korea is popular in Turkey.
This is really touching. I couldn't expect this like 10 years ago. How do you see the future of Korean drama as well as the Turkish drama?
Actually, you are changing more than us. I think day by day as a drama, you will be closer to European or American dramas too.
Slowly, it's going to change. And does that affect it by the international fans, you think?
In my opinion, Korean drama in today's structure is good. If they will change, they will like to others and not be original. For now, it's easy to watch with the whole family, but when they will change, as they will start to looks like European dramas, there will be just one of them, not original. I prefer to not change K-dramas. Actually, my dream is to write a project for a Korean producer as a Turkish screenwriter.
Of the new generation of K-dramas that represent the change in domestic society, Dr. Cha really struck a chord with the public. It tells the story of a mother who goes back to medical school after 20 years of looking after her family. Dr. Cha is played by the singer and actress Jung-hwa, one of the most influential women in the Korean entertainment industry. She began acting in K-drama 30 years ago and since then has seen how women have come a long way.
When I started off my career back in the 90s, family dramas were all the rage. However, the spotlight rarely shone on women. Their life goals often boil down to finding the perfect man, leading to many stories where women were betrayed by men and left heartbroken by love. Korea has been changing rapidly since the 90s, not only in its economy, but also in various aspects of society. So the social standing of women has also changed a lot.
You recently starred in Dr. Cha about a middle-aged woman who goes back to medical school after 20 years of looking after her family. Why do you think it was such a big hit, especially internationally?
I'm thrilled that Dr. Cha is receiving so much love. I wondered why this drama resonated with so many people, and then it hit me, we are all the same. When women get married, have children, and raise them, their careers often take a backseat. But Dr. Cha chooses to pursue her dreams, saying that she's done her part as a mom. Her journey to reclaim her dreams is incredibly relatable and inspiring to me. I've also heard from many women who, like Dr. Cha, aspire to chase their dreams. I think mothers all over the world have similar experiences. So I think Dr. Cha is a drama that speaks to everyone.
It's just increase of empathy worldwidely. So it's about the woman and it's about the mother and all around the world. So that's why it's internationally very popular, especially the Dr. Cha. That's the elements that all over the world, not only with a woman.
Yeah, I think so. Not only woman. For everybody.
For everybody.
Have to have courage
who overcomes the obstacles. Oh yeah, there was one element that Dr. Cha is discriminated against because of her age. Age is something that affects you as an actress too.
When I first started my career, I believed that once you hit 30, it was challenging to land a leading role. If you're over 35, you're often typecast as the mother figure in a family. But Korean society has undergone significant changes, and I feel fortunate and happy to be able to tell women's stories even at my age.
You know, I'm 30, but now it becomes more flexible and like it just say age is just a number.
We can be friends.
Yeah, we can be friends.
Yeah.
Like, all the time. There's no barrier in an age as well. So like there's a lot of talking about in terms of age and language, like worldwide, things are getting more flexible than before. So that's the reason why we can talk about a lot of things. Like there's the range of the themes and topics got increased. So that's why we can talk about a lot of things. Yes. But Korea is still a very patriarchal society, and how does that, do you think, affect the entertainment industry?
Dramas, movies, performances, and singing all used to carry a lot of patriarchal elements and various regulations. Some of them still exist. For instance, there are strict dress codes during broadcast with rules against things like tattoos, which were even more rigid in the past. But I think these things are slowly changing.
Nowadays, it's all about the platforms. But before, it was all about television. Does this affect you a lot while you're working?
In the past, when people watched dramas only on TV, it's hard for you to imagine now, but all the Korean dramas were produced and aired within the same week. The drama was aired and we observed the audience reactions simultaneously. The writers, the producers, and the directors would reflect on the audience reactions, even revising scripts to accommodate their opinions. But the drawbacks were quite obvious, because there was no pre-production and the production environment was very challenging. Actors struggled to rest and the entire production team worked tirelessly through the night. It was a daunting ordeal.
I got a goosebumps when I heard that, like, it's almost like a live show.
Yeah,
and it's like,
right.
Yeah, it's like, so you have to see the reaction of the audience, but the whole actors and actresses sleep for just 1 or 2 hours a day, but you still make it, and that's how amazing Korean crews are and actors and actresses are. So I think those intensity just come to the platform right nowadays, and then they can concentrate more on one episode so they can, have it in a higher quality. There's an opinion that more and more K-drama got internationally popular. There's less elements about Korean culture, and how do you think about that?
I don't think at all. Yeah.
The content has become more sophisticated and imaginative. Nowadays, advancements in technologies like computer graphics have allowed us to explore space and sci-fi tales from a Korean perspective, and that's very gratifying to see. It's good that the scope of the storytelling expands and the imagination flourishes. I may not fully comprehend what defines Korean, but I think it all remains embedded in the stories that are written by Koreans. So I don't believe it has lost its Korean identity.
아직은 그거에 공감하기는 어려운 것 같아요.
She's left me feeling optimistic about the possibilities of where K-dramas will go in the future. As long as our creators keep pushing boundaries and remain true to themselves, I think the audience will keep coming back. You've been listening to the documentary The Culture Frontline from the BBC World Service, presented by me, Minha Kim, and produced by Julie Yoon-young Lee, Samantha Huk, and Viveka Venema. Thank you for downloading the Culture Frontline podcast. Please remember to review, rate, and subscribe.